Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Weekly Steel Chair after a little bit of a short hiatus, or a week, or to many people, it's a lifetime. Yes, it's a lot, but for a good reason. But hello to all of our amazing community. Hope everyone is doing really well. Got a big show this week. Got several coming up actually, but today's a big one because obviously a fair bit's been missed through physical and personal situations, of course. As you can see, my co-host isn't here. My co-host Ailey hasn't been well. Obviously, I wish her well. Hope to see her back soon. Because after all, we miss Ailey cooking on professional wrestling. If you are watching, of course, please do hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons, and let us know what you think of the channel. Let us know what you think of content you'd like to see. But additionally, as well, we do have some stuff that's coming out, and obviously, I want to make this the most interesting podcast going because this is what professional wrestling means to me. I'm just having the link on the background because I like to at least have the channel on in the meantime. Anyway, so today, of course, I've got a lot to get through. I've got to review Payback. I've got to review All Out. I've got Raw to review. I've got Dynamite to review. I've got Impact Victory Road to review. I've got SmackDown. Fuck me, I've got a lot to review. I am. If I'm not dead, I'm definitely going to get close to it. But we are going to start with WWE's Payback. Okay, right. So I'm going to share screen because obviously I do have the results to hand as well for anyone who hasn't seen it. Well, you've had a week, so spoilers, I don't care. You've had a week. It's your fault if you missed it. And it should be on screen there. Okay, so first match opener, of course, was Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in the steel cage match. Obviously, a few folk of us on the previous show, comments and all, thought this one was going to be a bit of a lowdown. Maybe it's not going to deliver because it's the quality match, the feud. Obviously, the pay per view could have been done. It could have been done at SummerSlam. We spoke about this where they could have just shut the feud off at SummerSlam, ended there and then, but no, they didn't. Instead, they keep it off TV. Becky Lynch goes and makes lemonade because obviously that's what you do. If you don't get a push, you just go and crack some lemons, or in your case, brain cells. And what we're getting from it in the end of it, we're getting a very good match that is actually being rated as one of the best matches of the night. It's one that was popularized by many for how the show delivered. It had a very good start, some good callbacks in there. Trish Stratus made a callback to her old rival Victoria with the Widow's Peak. Obviously, Becky Lynch made a callback to another rival of Stratus being Lita with the Twist of Fate. We get all sorts. We get some top rope finish attempts. We get Trish Stratus hanging off the cage. We got a flurry of cage. We got a flood of cage strikes where we're having both women smashing each other's faces off the steel cage. Obviously, we've seen pictures of Trish Stratus where she's got bruises on her face, bruises on her arms from the damage taken from the steel cage. It's good to see the steel cage being used properly as a weapon. All in all, a very good opening contest, and they got the crowd very alive. And the one thing about this show was this show needed a match that was going to kick off really well, and it needed something to explode. Especially because before the show started, if you can recall on the previous show, we said that there was going to be a top babyface run coming. There was going to, like, for a prospect. I immediately was thinking, could it be a man? Could it be a woman? But then during the match, in the closing stages, Zoe Starks gets involved. Starks ends up knocking out the legend of Trish Stratus, which makes it more interesting as well. So could we see a feud between them? Potentially. Obviously, I'll come to Zoe Starks very soon because she had a match on Raw. But truth be told, it really is an interesting perspective where we're going to go with this one. Because the next match sucked. LA Knight versus The Miz with a super interesting Cena, or in his case, super should not have been involved in the first place. Took away from the whole match itself with his constant teasing about turning heel and all the tweener action. This match didn't need Cena at all. Like LA Knight versus The Miz on its own was enough for LA Knight to try and build some momentum, get himself going, try and showcase why he's the number one merch seller, why product wise he's outselling top names like the WWE's top names, but he's not necessarily my top name. But top names like Roman, for example, where he's outperforming them on the merch sales. Good match, wins it with blunt force trauma, and then at the very top you've got a stare down between Knight and Cena. Are we going to get anything from it? Highly unlikely. What we're going to get for LA Knight, we'll see. Is he going to get a title run? Unlikely. Who's benefited out of this match the most? It's The Miz, because The Miz had an absolute brilliant segment on Raw, which shows a lot really about what can change on the night. If you have a good match but you don't get the result, you get a reward. The Miz gets a comedy segment that suits him really well. So fair play to The Miz. Match number 3 on the night wasn't particularly. It wasn't a great match, but it fit the notion of the card, where it was going. At least it was a rejuvenation. Rey Mysterio defeated Austin Theory by pinfall for the US title in a championship rematch. Put it this way, it was just a match. It wasn't particularly great. There wasn't a lot of story to it. There was no real selling of the moves. Mysterio done well for his position, obviously, as a veteran champion. But again, Theory in a title match, he's had his opportunities. I think it's time for him to go and look and revamp himself differently. We saw on SmackDown, he had a match as well with LA Knight, losing effort. Again, I'm looking at Austin Theory and I'm thinking, what more are we going to get from Theory? I'm not sure, but I'm not overly concerned at the moment. I'd be more concerned if there's no real option for him going forward, and all he's reduced to is just the US title. But he has a good look. He just needs to add a little bit more character to him. If he can do that, then we've got something, and that's where the difference is for me. That's the real importance. We're at the halfway point because obviously, yes, we're going to fly through the matches, but we're not going to fly through the rest of it. We want to get to what follows it story-wise, add-ons, which links into Raw, link into SmackDown really well. We're going to get into this, but of course, match number 4, one of the matches of the night, second, maybe the third, depending on what you think of the main event. But Judgment Day, Balor and Priest defeat Owens and Sami Zayn, the tag team champions, in a Steel City street fight, obviously named after the environment. Of course, it's referred to as the Steel City. Great match, hardcore to the limit, fit really well. No surprise, being a street fight, no disqualifications, you're going to get involvement once you get into the crowd. So, of course, no surprise that Ripley gets involved. No surprise JD McDonough gets involved, even though he's not officially part of the Judgment Day. No surprise chicken shit Dominic Mysterio gets involved. This was a very good match. Great storytelling. I thought the crowd loved it. This was probably the second or third match of the night where the crowd genuinely loved the environment. The first being the steel cage. I would also say the main event until the very closing stages. But I really enjoyed this match from start to finish. I love the fact that throughout the match as well, you saw the changing of the look as well of Kevin Owens as well, where after he bleeds, they get changed into hockey gear. I love that. Very, very clever. That got the crowd riled up even more. We're thinking, are the champions going to retain now? Because obviously we're expecting Owens and Zayn versus Indus at the Indian non-televised event, which we didn't get anyway. But I really like that. I also like the callback in between Kevin Owens and Rhea Ripley of that ignorance between them both to then getting speared through the barricade. That really worked in their favor. Finishers wise, effective to see the coup de grace being used effectively on Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens, not really as strong wise, but I thought Kevin Owens' storytelling was more effective in this one than his overall performance. I think performance wise, again, it goes standout has to go to Dominic Mysterio, even though he wasn't in the match. He was involved at the end, obviously. He's now effectively deciding matches for the Judgment Day. But no, I liked it. I mean, The only matches on this entire card that I didn't like was the match that followed this and the LA Knight match. I didn't like those two. I thought they were both disappointing as fuck. But I thought generally the show had something to it. There's my co-host, of course, in the chat. Good to see you. Ailey, I hope you're feeling well. Obviously, I made mention of you that you were not present this week because obviously you've not been well. But we're in for a big bumper review, by the way. I have got so many shows and pay-per-views to review that we're going to be here. But we've got 100 hours worth of storage. Not the classic 50 hours that StreamYard gives you. We've got 100. We've got enough to bring out some banging content. And we're going to over the next week. So strap yourselves in because we're now on the road to Fast Lane. Well, they say that, but only one genuine story is on the road to Fastlane. We'll see how the rest of it goes. Next match, 17 minutes 20 seconds of sheer pish. Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship versus Raquel Rodriguez. This match, start to finish, I'm sorry, was genuinely horrible. It was horrible. Ripley, nothing significant in her offense. Her finish as well was weak. Either that or Raquel Rodriguez just could not sell it, but it was genuinely appalling. Especially when you had coming into this match where we spoke about this at length. Me and Ailey spoke about this on the preview show where we're thinking this match was great in NXT. If they can get to that sort of level, then we're going to see something really special. We're going to see a very good match to follow. Did we get that? No. No, we don't. This match had very little in terms of intrigue. It offered me nothing. It shows that Rhea being an NPC, now I understand why, because the roster isn't going to match up to her if the way they booked it. This match was horrible. End of story. However, I liked Rhea Ripley's, at least her presentation of her look. But as a fan of women's wrestling, this is not a match I'm going to say worth watching. The steel cage match, however, was worth watching. This match was crap. And that's the end of it. And we're moving on from that one. We'll see what happens with Rhea Ripley with her titles to come. Obviously, she had a non-televised match with Natalia for the third time in India. Why Natalia keeps getting title matches, I haven't got a clue, but Jesus Christ. She's finished. Keep her away from the title scene. Just keep her away. Just keep her the fuck away. And if you're a fan of Natalia, I'm sorry, but facts are facts. And the final match, of course, of the night, which divided prediction opinion, but actually gave a good match anyway. 25 minutes. Well, it says 26 minutes, but it was really 25 because the first minute was walking around and just eyeing each other out. But Seth Rollins defends the world title versus Nakamura. This was what Rollins and Finn Balor should have been. This was brilliant start to finish. The presentation of both men, offense-wise, was great. Rollins was all-round game, trying to work on the entirety of Nakamura's body. Nakamura working the back. I really like that. It fit both men really well. Both men create chemistry in the ring. You can see they are going somewhere with this. I like the fact it wasn't shown on air. It wasn't shown on air how it went, but afterwards we saw that Nakamura attacked Rollins after Payback ended. I do agree. I thought the finish was flat. I agree on that. I thought I was surprised. I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be rushed or Rollins was just in too much pain that they had to call an audible in that way straight away. I'm not sure, but this match was so hot for about 20, 23 minutes, and then the finish sequence really let it down. But I still thought it was a good match. Clearly, we're going to see based on how Raw went. Obviously, I'll be coming to Raw after I review all out. From what we can see from this story, they are going to carry on. Are they going to have Nakamura win the title at Fastlane? I don't know. Should they? Yes. Ideally, it's the best of both parties, but I'm not sure what the end goal is going to be. But this has, since Nakamura turned heel and attacked Rollins on Raw a couple weeks ago, they've made this such a priority for Raw to give something that Raw needs from a world title feud that's not being that has been lacking. To be fair, I don't think the Balor Rollins feud worked at all. It was so rehashed that the matches weren't up to snuff. So I'm actually kind of happy that they're at least taking this on. But I do agree with Ailey that the finish was flat, and we can't. If this is going to be the match at Fastlane, you cannot have another flat finish because that will kill the momentum of the world title. It'll kill the momentum of Nakamura, and it'll also just it'll ruin Rollins whether you want it to happen or not. Show wise, obviously, we don't have to take like 30, 45 minutes to review every show. We can do it in 20 minutes. But what I want to say is for Payback, overall good show. Highlights the steel cage. That was that and the street fight were the matches of the night. Up until the finish of the world title match, that was a good match. It just the finish let it down a bit. Super Cena, or in my case, cannot be fucking bothered with him, ruined the Miz match just for his own benefit. Again, didn't like it. It was horrible. Nothing significant from that one, and it just took away from both men. Not happy with that one at all. The US title match between Mysterio and Theory was just a match, but again, Rey Mysterio showing his legendary status at least was able to carry it through really well. And the absolute big negative of the night, the women's world title match. You got 37 minutes of women's action and only 20 minutes interested me, and that was the first match. Again, there's something that needs to be done with that. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm not overly confident in this run. I'm not confident. I'm not confident. And that's Payback. Right. Okay. Time for All Out. And I'm saying this, I am not going to review 3 0-hour matches. It's not happening. Not doing it. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm not gonna. So I'm not going to be reviewing three matches on the 0 hour. So I'm just going to skip those, and we're just going to go straight into the main card. So just under 15-minute tag match. Better Than You Baby, Adam Cole and MJF defeated the Finished Order for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Not gonna lie, this match didn't have anything for me. I didn't like it. It didn't even open well. I think I think the only thing that worked from it was what followed. But I just didn't think the match suits it. Are they a good team together? Yes. But is it a credible thing to have tag team champions still having a storyline together where they're still feuding, where they're going to eventually feud again for the world title? No. Is it better that they just lose the titles and then still feud? And then we look towards either Roderick Strong or Samoa Joe? Yes. Again, it's just that significance of what are we getting from these matches. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see these tag titles on Cole and MJF. I want it to be a singles feud because at least you're going to see the best of both against each other. Putting them beside each other, it's entertaining, but also it takes away a credible challenger. And I don't want to see a credible challenger taken away because you're having fun as a tag team. But what followed this, of course, was on his way back to the backstage area, Samoa Joe comes out and bumps MJF, knocks him on his arse. It was actually quite funny. Gets in the ring. MJF just gets in the ring, starts scrapping with Joe. So we're going to see that's what's coming next. Obviously, that did follow Yeah, it's another number one contenders tournament. Contenders tournament, you're right. That carried on last night as well. All in all, I think, is Joe a smart option for MJF? Yes. Is he the best choice? No. Hey, Yeti boy, how you doing, bud? I didn't like the opener, but I like the fact that at least Samoa Joe came out and at least knocked MJF down, which at least sparked between those two, and obviously MJF wouldn't get involved in the TV title match, which is good, but at least Samoa Joe dominant win. We move on. Follow-up match, Luchasaurus defeated Darby Allin, Christian Cage, and obviously Nick Wayne, who fought Darby Allin on Dynamite, was accompanying Darby Allin to the ring. I thought this match was decent. At least it fit to Darby Allin, where Darby Allin can get around the ring, get some offense. But obviously, Luchasaurus being the powerhouse, and obviously had the best heel in wrestling and Christian alongside him. You got something out of that, at least. I enjoyed all of it as well, but there's some things I didn't enjoy, and I'll be saying one of them very shortly. The circumstance of Luchasaurus, at least he's still shown why he is a champion. However, I would like to see a little bit more from him character wise. I don't think he's got anything substantial to show. But again, I wonder if that down to him or is that him being booked? I don't know. But I'm not particularly intrigued. Good question from you there, mate. I can see it on my phone. I like that. Do you think Nick Wayne will turn on Darby and join Christian? I do actually. I do think Nick Wayne will turn on Darby Allin. Only because I think not Darby needs someone like that against him. Nick Wayne, I don't think is a good enough babyface, even though he's not long in the business. He just doesn't. Even though he's not long in the business, he does not strike me as somebody that I'd actually say is a top babyface. I would never think he's going to even get to that level. You see, he is a prodigy, but he just doesn't give me. He doesn't have something. There's something about him that's missing, and I think he does need maybe Christian's tutelage, something like that around him, where he can go. We can get you to that next level as a heel, and I think that is what he needs as a babyface. I'm not overly confident in Nick Wayne. He does have a good all-round offense though, which I really do like, but we'll see what we get from that. The seventh match of the night, well, fourth match on the main card, because that's all we're reviewing. We're not reviewing 3 0-hour matches that didn't even deliver. Miro defeated Powerhouse Hobbs by submission. Obviously, that's the game over. Camel clutch submission hold. Following this, we get a brawl where CJ Perry comes out. Dipshit wife comes out. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but no one gives a fuck about this woman. Like, no one cares. She was irrelevant in WWE. She does fuck all anywhere else anywhere. So why the hell would you bring her in when she's not even got a long-term contract to get involved with a weak chair shot? And then she does a stupid video where she goes, I've been told I should be in the kitchen. Like, what are you trying to pull? Like, what is this misogynistic crap? I'm sorry, but that actually ruined the whole match for me. Like, fuck me. Horrible, stupid waste of time. Waste of time. Get her gone. Do not bring her back. She was crap in WWE, crap on the mic. She can't fucking wrestle. And I just hated her look. I hated it. It had nothing for me. It took away the whole thing from two men that were actually having a good match between each other, which again I didn't think it was going to be, but again it took away from it. It took away from Miro being dominant with a weak chair shot to then hit one for himself. 1 out of 10. Nah, just overall, this is the only thing I'm going to rate as absolute dog shit. 1 out of 10. Awful. Awful. We have up next the one and only women's match on the main card. Obviously, as you can see, there was a 6-woman tag on the the pre-show. So Chris Statlander defeated Ruby Soho with AEW Women's Champion Soraya by pinfall for the boring stuff title. Again, Statlander bores me. I'm sorry. She's not good enough. I don't like her gimmick. I don't like her presentation. I don't like her offense. Ruby Soho didn't even look good in this match either. I thought overall it was weak. I thought even adding Soraya at ringside did nothing. It was poor. Pass. Just pass. Match number 9. No disqualification strap match. I like this one. Bryan Danielson defeated Ricky Starks by technical submission. Obviously, Bryan Danielson returned at Collision the night before All Out. Signed the contract as the Dragon, taking the place of Ricky Steamboat. I loved this match. I thought this match was very good. Obviously, as a strap match, obviously it is going to be very extreme. You're going to have blood involved. You are going to have methods of choking with the strap. You're going to whip them about. I like the fact as well, it showed Ricky Stark's determination where he's refusing to tap out to Bryan Danielson's label lock. Really enjoyed it. Back and forth offense as well. This is a good start, and obviously Bryan Danielson's still going to be a very effective member of the leadership group of AEW. Obviously, he is the first in line for AEW to take over creativity and production if Tony Khan isn't involved. Bryan Danielson is the first man involved, which I do rate because Bryan Danielson is the right individual for that. Good match. I liked it. And it at least set a tone for those two going forward. I want to see more. And obviously we will hear from Bryan Danielson tonight. He is scheduled for Collision. So I look forward to that, seeing what we get from the match. How will he put over Ricky Starks, or will he call him out for another match? I think we should get another one, to be fair. I think you can get a good series out of these two, because I do like Ricky Starks. Absolute Ricky Starks is fantastic. Best spear in the business as well. I'm saying that. He's got the best spear in the business. And I just like Bryan Danielson's work with him, especially with a younger guy, to elevate him as a talent. I really do like it. Tag match follows this one. That was pretty much that whole night as well. You had like singles, then you had a tag, singles, multi-man tag, ending with a single. Yeah, so he was suspended for, it was a 30-day suspension on him, but for this one in particular, they brought him into it as a sort of teaching a lesson. So that's what this was. This was about teaching Starks a lesson, thinking he can get away with his actions. He was thinking he was going to get Steamboat, rightfully so, the Dragon, but as we know, he's not the only one. Great picture of Soraya. But this is what we're getting from that, is you're getting him being taught a lesson. And I think we'll see more of that tonight. Well, we should. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The next match, of course, match number 6 on the main card. Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta defeated Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata. Predicted result, really. Predicted result, not surprised. For who? For Starks? What are you giving 0 marks to? If you're giving 0 marks to that strap match, I'm concerned. Meiji Fujinami was quality, but again, you're not really going to get it. That's because they're both boring. Like, they're both very boring. Just get Claudio to hand over the fucking Ring of Honor World title to Kingston and keep Kingston on Ring of Honor. Because I don't want to see Kingston on AEW anymore. I just don't. I think he's decent, but I'm just not an overly big fan of his. I don't want to see him as much. Wits End. Again, I wasn't a particular fan of this one. The only thing I liked about this match was Shibata. The rest of it, no thanks. Fujinami instead of Danielson? No. No. Completely disagree with that. Completely disagree. Got to move on because I want to move on to the best match of the night, and that was Takeshita versus Omega. This was levels above the entire card. And I said it as well in the previous show that Takeshita was going to beat Omega. They're going to have him have 2 pinfalls in a row, and rightfully so, because this is exactly what you're building. If you want Takeshita to be taken seriously as a heel, you have to beat the best guy in the company decisively. This was Takeshita's big moment, and credit to Konosuke Takeshita for this, because if this didn't go to plan, he would have faded. If this had not gone to plan, he would have faded completely, and that's what you don't want. You want to see talent like this thrive and get to that level. And Omega is that great. He's a brilliant storyteller. He's a great offense worker, great on the mic. What you want from Omega is that leadership of himself where he can get the talent to the level they're expecting to be. Takeshita got that. Limitless. And I thought Don Callis at ringside was fantastic. Yeah, but what exactly is Takeshita going to use as a finish, though? Like, what exactly would he use as a finish? That's what I'm going to throw out to you. Because I'm not sure what I would like from him. I don't want to see a pile driver or pile driver-esque. I don't want to see a super kick. The STO or reverse STOs are overused, or they're being used by individuals that actually can deliver it really well. I don't know what sort of finish he can use. That's the thing. He has to go with a strike because it fits to him, but I'm not sure, you know? It's not as easy. But I get your point. I get your point. Power slam, that would be cool. I mean, Braun Strowman butchers a running power slam. I'd rather see someone else do it. No. He shouldn't be used in another man's offense. I want him to have something a little bit original. So I agree with Alien that way about a running power slam. I do like that. That's true. He is very big. He is a big guy. He's a good worker as well. He's quite underrated. I do like that. We'll see what we can get from it, but I'm not sure. But I thought that match was fantastic. I'm going to give that a solid 9 out of 10. Like, from start to finish, it was perfect. Probably my favorite match on the entire card. I thought it was outstanding. The storytelling was great. Same with the same rating I'm giving to the street fight as well. 9 out of 10 for the street fight. Next up, Bullet Club Gold. Best singles match of the year. It's up there with MGF and Danielson Iron Man. The other one, obviously, is that tag team 2 out of 3 falls match, which was outstanding. But it's definitely up there for great matches. Absolutely brilliant. Next one, 8-man tag, just over 20 minutes. Bullet Club Gold defeated FTR and the Young Bucks. It was very slow. It was slow, but again, you're getting offense in. Am I happy that at least we got the right result with Bullet Club Gold winning it? Yes. But was it truly special? If you're Jay White, no. If you're the Young Bucks, yes, because you're not exactly entertaining as much anymore. You're just really boring me out. I still think they got the whole dynamic wrong of the disrespect at All In just to have this match where you don't see enough from it. It felt really weird. It felt weird, but it wasn't a bad match. It just didn't feel right. If you had All Out bit more timed out, then it may have been a little bit more interesting, but it was just like that, you know. It wasn't that. And the main event, the AEW only international when they can be bothered to make it international because it's not going to be an international title. John Moxley defeats Orange Cassidy. The record reign is over. Yeah, it's over. What are we going to get from it this now? We'll see. Obviously, Moxley straight away defending the title against AR Fox. Defend it immediately on Dynamite. I thought it was okay. They've at least come to the conclusion that the title has to end. Is it the person I wanted the title reign to end to? Absolutely not. But it means significance about the commandeering of leadership in the Blackpool Combat Club. What will we see from that is what I'm more interested in. Will Moxley try to use the title to assume control ahead of Danielson, who is by far the out and out leader, in my opinion? Obviously, he wins with the Death Rider. Wins with the Death Rider DDT, gets the cover, and we have a new international, only international when they can be bothered to make it international because they didn't defend it at Wembley title. That is over, and we move on. And of course, Ailey's going all in on the war zone, which I quite like. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing just for a little while. So that's nearly 40 minutes of that one. So positives for All Out. The Omega Takeshita match has elevated Takeshita into the right level that they want to be in, that they view him as. It keeps Kenny Omega intriguing because he's now lost back-to-back pay-per-views. What's going to come from Kenny Omega is what I'm interested in. That's what I like. I like to see a follow-up of something of this level. Luchasaurus obviously maintaining the TNT title in his, well, I would say Christian's grip, but it makes it more interesting for Christian as a heel. Will Christian look to assume control of the title when he calls himself anyway? We'll see. That's something we spoke about in the preview show that we wanted to see. I like that. And also, Bullet Club Gold getting another decisive result. They should be getting back into the title scene, in my opinion. Whoever's going to do it, we'll find out. It shows Jay White is a good option to build on if you want to be world champion. He needs to get in there. MJF, I'll be coming to him very soon about Dynamite because that made no sense. At least we're going to see who he has a lot of challenges around him. Obviously, Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe both gunning for his title and on different fronts, different reasons. I like that. Negatives, the Acclaimed are still trios champions. Just point out there, fuck the Acclaimed. Another negative being the TBS title reign of Chris Statlander. It's not good enough. I didn't like the fact that Tony Storm wasn't even on the card as well. Wasn't to be seen. Really poor. The rushed feeling of FTR and the Bucks together as a team, well, as an 8-man team, it just didn't add for me. It took away from the match. It took away from what we saw in the match was particularly slow, which benefited the likes of Jay White and Juice Robinson anyway. And obviously, the Dark Order, another one, just get them gone. Like they're absolutely crap. The Dark Order are done. Hey Justin, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, no, we've got a stream today, and then we've got a few next week because I'm off work next week, so we've got quite a lot coming up. Game stuff is back. I'm going to be gaming tomorrow, so we're going to do some of that as well. But all in all, I thought there were some positives, there are some negatives, but I want to see a little bit more tangible. I want to see something a little bit more tangible. Right, moving on to Monday Night Raw. Right. Where do I begin? I thought Raw was okay. But it's okay. Honestly, I know you've been busy, bud, but at least you're still here when you can. So I've got no qualm with that. I appreciate you viewing whenever you can, just like anybody else that watches the show. I appreciate it as much as always because end of the day that's important. But anyway, Monday Night Raw, not the best overall, but it was okay. I like the dynamic of the show where we got time in the main event, which I'll be coming to. The Judgment Day, obviously. Senior boring in the bank got a new briefcase. He gets a custom purple briefcase. JD McFinished scored a win over Jobber Zane by roll up through interference from Dominic Mysterio. Nakamura and Rollins again at each other's throats. I like that. We're going to see more from them, definitely on the road to Fastlane. And definitely one of the highlights tonight was the Miz's segment on Cena. I really liked that. That was very clever. Because again, he wasn't involved. It was the fact he was taking the piss out of them. So I really did like that. So we'll see what happens. EV Dog, that is correct. The Dudley Boys have signed a Legends contract with WWE. I'm not sure if you're going to see Judgment Day versus Dudley Boys in a tables match, but they're gonna be there at least. Obviously, they will finish up on. They do finish up with Impact 1000 this week. They do have that. They've got the Impact 1000 show on Thursday. That makes me want a Senorita version of it. It's so damn nice. But yeah, it's better than Green. It's better. It's just Damian Priest shouldn't be allowed to cash in his money in the bank. I don't think he's good enough to be world champion. Gotta agree. I like the direction they're going with. Oh, could you also tell me the specific dates for the upcoming pay-per-views? Yeah, of course. Which ones would you like? Would you like WWE? Would you like... In fact, you know what? I'll just give you them all. So, WWE's next one is Fastlane. That is on October 7th. For AEW, obviously, they've got Wrestle Dream and they've got Full Gear coming up as well. So that's all and done. So let me just get that. So that's October 1st. Full Gear is November 11th, I think. Yeah, so November 18th, sorry, Full Gear's on the Saturday. Bound for Glory for Impact is on October 14th. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. NXT No Mercy should be alright, actually. They've been doing well, NXT. They've been doing well until they put Becky Lynch on NXT and then they soiled it. But we'll see what happens with that one. But all in all, the highlight for me of Raw, though, was by far Gable versus Gunter. Obviously, the record is broken. Gunter's now the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. 20 minutes that match went, bell to bell. 20 minutes. Very good technical match. Story-wise, it fit really well to Chad Gable, showcasing his technical ability compared to Gunther as a powerhouse. It fit both men really well. Spots, very few of like high impact, but when the high impact was delivered, you saw the effect. Like, for example, when Gunther got hit with a German suplex, the selling on that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. But what I want to see now is who falls. I thought it was even more camera fitting as well that they caught Gable's kids crying as well. That'll add the motivation to Chad Gable to go and win it. Are they going to do it? I'm not so sure, but I think it's not a bad idea. No Extreme Rules. I hope not, because they don't even know what Extreme is anyway. Card-wise, we've got Survivor Series. Second. Not necessarily. We got so we got Fastlane next, which is obviously that's October 7th. Then we got Survivor Series November 25th, and that's it. Looks like there's no pay-per-view for December. I think if we do get a Becky Lynch run, then that's okay. If we do get that, then I'll be all right with that. This I agree with. I do agree with that. That was an insult to Terry Funk. That was an insult to him. Whoever organized that match should have been fired. Like, whoever produced that Terry Funk tribute match should be fired for insulting a legend. Like, immediate firing. Just dismiss them. Reason, disrespect. Sorted. Because I would have fired them for that bullshit. Because it was horrible. But yeah, back to Gunther versus Gable. Obviously, Gunther gets the win with the powerbomb lariat combination. Immediately celebrates, obviously, because he's now broken the record. Fair play to Gunther. When is his title reign going to end? No clue. No clue. But again, they can drag it out for as long as they can because they're invested in this run. The fans are invested in this run. Is it going to go for the rest of the year? Maybe. Should it? I don't know. I mean, I would take off from the Survivor Series. Have a little screwy finish to Survivor Series just for now. I'm just kidding. Nah, have him lose it clean. I think you've got to go longer than 20 minutes. I think you have to give them some sort of stipulated match. For me personally, I would give Gunther versus Gable, I would give them a 30-minute Iron Man match. I think it works well for them where they've got the stamina, they've got the work rate, and they can tell a good story as well. I would give them 30-minute Iron Man match and just let them run with it. I think that would work. I don't know if you're going to get it fastly, but if you've got a Survivor Series, that'd be okay. I think you've got to go for it. I'd say for Raw, I'll say 6 out of 10. Just because I don't think there was enough, apart from maybe one or two segments that really delivered. I don't think the rest of it worked out, but at least we're still getting progression with Rollins and Nakamura, which is good. Dynamite obviously we had moments on there. So obviously we had one segment that made no sense, one segment that was very good, a couple of good matches, and then obviously the tournament, the tournament got announced as well. So let's kick off with a segment that made no sense. MJF and Samoa Joe. It made no sense because the first half of this segment was truly pish. Oh yeah, very lazy, very lazy. The first part of this segment made no sense. There was no Oh, thank you, Eve Dog, for following as well. I really do appreciate that. I'll follow you back after the stream ends. So, the first half of the segment was just pure on just talking about the past. I don't want to hear about the past. Nobody cares. We want to talk about the current, present, and the future between those two guys. Are we going to get something killer between MGF and Samoa Joe? That's what I want to see. I do not want to hear about ice cream trucks and what MGF got done to him in WWE. No one cares. No one cares. Stop reference. And both companies were guilty of it this week. AEW and WWE were both guilty of referencing each other. Just stop referencing each other. Just get on with it. Get on with your own thing. Focus on your own thing, and focus on making your products better. Because that's what matters right now. I don't want to see lazy shit. I thought matches wise, spot on. But I'm sick of seeing Trent Barretta. I don't want to see Trent Barretta or the good friends and all that rubbish. They're boring. They're boring, and he is extremely boring. I like the fact that it was also fairly segment orientated from All Out as well. We got to see a bit more of that. I thought Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne was a very good main event. It did go slightly over for TV time. It did go slightly over, but we got the motivation of Christian Cage when he came out as well. He's coming out and he's adding more to this group. Are we going to get a potential tease of, as Yeti Boy mentioned, about a split between Nick Wayne and Darby Allin? I think we are, and we definitely deserve it. I'm very excited by Swerve versus Hangman Adam Page. I think that has a good storyline to obviously on next week. Obviously, we'll get Page versus Kate. We'll get Page versus Cage 3, and then obviously that will then add more to Swerve versus Hangman. Again, I'm not gonna say I'm like, oh yeah, it was a masterclass of a show. No, but it was a good match. Particularly a good show, sorry, but particularly Swerve Strickland, I thought was fantastic as well. Referencing last night as well, I just want to talk about the tournament. Last night, obviously, Samoa Joe did beat Jeff Hardy, and again, Pentagon Junior's mask has come off. Again, I'm getting sick of this. Like, it's time for they really need to stop taking them off. Pentagon Junior did win, by the way. He'll face Samoa Joe. For in the Grand Slam tournament. So I just want to add that off as well for everybody. So Joe progressed. Pentagon Jr. progressed. Roderick Strong's progressed. We've still got a bit more to come. We're certainly getting there. And obviously, can they build? That's what I want to see. Can they build? And obviously, Emi Sakura got a match with Statlander. I thought that was actually okay. I generally thought that match was actually okay, to be fair. But other than that, it's about the next steps. And I think another example of next steps is what we saw from Aussie Open versus Guevara and Jericho. Obviously, now the end of the match, obviously, with Lusex Gods, as they refer to, obviously wins by pinfall, Judas Effect. After that, obviously, you've got more of Guevara and Jericho losing control of each other, the pushing, shoving. if they're going to split these two up, they need to make it happen. Are they going to do it for Full Gear? I think so, but we'll see. Other than that, I'm not overly concerned. Again, as I've said, I'm not overly concerned. But I thought Dynamite was good. I'll say 7. I'll say 7, but I want to see more from them. I'll be straight up honest. I want to see a little bit more. Moving on to the final pay-per-view review show. Actually, no, SmackDown. SmackDown first. SmackDown was actually. We'll do SmackDown, then we'll do Victory Road. SmackDown was good. You had women's tag Shotzi and Nepotist Flair versus Damage Control's Io Sky, WWE Women's Champion, and Bayley on the card. Really good win there for Shotzi Blackheart. Gets the pin over Bayley. Asuka's outside at ringside as well. She wants her return match for the title. I like that stare down between her and Io Sky. It looks like they're going to genuinely give something to these two. I like it. I'd like to see them get a good match, and that is in 2 weeks' time on SmackDown. I don't know why it needs to be 2 weeks. To be fair, it could just be next week. I don't understand it. Solo Uso, as in Jimmy. Jimmy Uso showing why I don't rate him as a singles wrestler. I don't think he was that much of a performance against Styles. Styles gets the win, but at least they are building towards Styles versus Roman. But I'm just get Jimmy Uso off TV. Just get him off. I don't want to see him anymore. He sucks. Thoughts on Cena returning full time temporarily? Tell him to go home. I don't want to see him anymore. It's desperate where it's just he's not going to add anything. He's not adding anything. I'd rather someone else just be given full backing and confidence to run the place instead of having to bring him back. It's just desperation for me. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. And I hated his involvement at Payback. His Payback refereeing job was pish. Didn't like it. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. SmackDown's behind the scenes segments, on the other hand, were strong, especially when they were showcasing the tag team champions. Obviously, they did have a match against Butch and the Neckbreaker. That's what I'll refer to him now. Rich Holland is forever known as the Neckbreaker. Good match. Obviously, the champions get the result. Pretty Deadly are seen backstage. Are they going to be in contention for a title match soon? I would assume so, because they are a consistent tag team. But I'd like to see more. Obviously, post-match as well, we see the Flop Profits and Bobby Lashley come out. They get in the faces of Judgment Day. That is more interesting. That's more interesting. We're going to see something strong there. And that was SmackDown pretty much. I don't think anything else. Actually, no, to be fair, LA Knight against Austin Fury. Grayson Waller on commentary. That was actually okay. Like, that was more interesting. I thought Waller on commentary certainly adds for Austin Fury in a way. It gives him a little bit more momentum. Gives him a little bit more depth. And LA Knight's just killing it at the moment. He's just killing it. So all in all, I was impressed. SmackDown 7 as well. Right. So final pay-per-view to review. 8 main card matches, and then we're going to talk what's to come. like I said, I can review all these shows in an hour and it feels fine. Well, an hour and a bit. The fact that we've gone an hour as well is good. Right. Anyway, so Victory Road Impact. So first match on the main card is Leo Rush defending the X Division Championship against Kushida. This was excellent for the time allocated. 10-minute match, fast paced, lots of counters, high impact spots as well. I thought there's two spots in particular that stood out for me. They were both Kushida counters. One was the missile suicide dive from the bottom rope from Leo Rush, got countered into the hoverboard lock, which is an armbar. It's like a rotating armbar lock from midair. Really like that. And again, the same one as a Spanish fly that Leo Rush goes for. Counter by Kushida into that lock again. It really elevated the match between these two. They've had good matches before. They had a good match at the first Multiverse United. We're getting something from these two. They're going to build more to that. That was Kushida's X Division Championship number one contenders match he had, where he won the X Division. He won the X match. I really enjoyed it. So we're getting something from these two. Really exciting. Really exciting for that. I enjoyed it. And Leo Rush retained his title. Question from Justin. I hope he goes back to WWE just so they can cry. Just so they can cry. I hope he goes back because then we'll see WWE fans become hypocrites. One moment, my brother's being a little bitch. Back in a second. I mean, he could do. He could generally quit. Is he going to? I'm not so sure, but I don't think he has it in him. I think he'll want to capitalize on this situation, and if he does, then it's smart business sense. But we'll see. I don't know if he does quit, but if he does, I think he personally should. But WWE will try and get the rinse out of this if they get him in, because they'll want to make more money off it, because they'll know he's a gold mine. We'll see. We'll see, but I'm not sure if it's the right course of action personally. Okay, second match on this main card is the Knockouts World Tag Team titles, which is the women's tag team titles. So that's MK Ultra, which is Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich versus the Shantaraj. Again, it was more just like a standard women's tag team match, but it was actually very good. Killer Kelly and Masha are strong pairing. Really enjoying their work at the moment. Crazy spots, obviously. Masha's kicks are insane. Reminds me of like X-Pac back in the days. Really clever stuff. I enjoyed it. Good match. Followed up really well to Leo, but it wasn't better than the Leo Kushida match, but at least added to it. The next one, Crazy Steve. How's he still going? I don't know. Defeated Black Taurus, which is literally just a more bizarre version of Luchasaurus. Crazy Steve wins. Moving on. This next one, though, I understand why they've done it, but I don't think they needed to do it, and that was Tommy Dreamer defeating Kenny King for the Impact Digital Media title versus career match. Personally, this match was thrown together quite quickly, but they should have just gave Kenny King the win and told Tommy Dreamer, like, that's it, you're finished, move into a different role. I understand why they gave the result, but I disagree with it unless they've got somebody particular who is going to end Tommy Dreamer's career. Whoever that's going to be, I'm not sure. It could be Eddie Edwards. I'm not sure, but I didn't think much of it. Jordan Grace has returned to Impact. She defeated Deonna Purrazzo by pinfall. That was a very good match. Superplex, suplex combinations, power bombs, Cuda drivers. This had it all between the two of them. This match fit really well. That's the third straight pay-per-view loss for Deonna as well, which has never happened before. She goes over. Jordan Grace, very good women's match. I liked it. Thoroughly enjoyed it within the time constraints. 12 minutes for this is, considering what you've got, is really good. And the women's timings altogether, this whole night, 8:12. So that's 20 minutes there. No, 21 minutes plus 8:58. So it's nearly 30 minutes of women matches on the main card. I like that. Yeah, Tommy Dreamer's still in wrestling. Yeah, he's still in wrestling. Anything goes match. PCO defeats Billy Ray. Santino gets involved as well. I'm sick of seeing Billy Ray. 0. Moving on to the Impact World Tag Team titles for the men. So the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Vance defeated the Motorcycle Machine Guns. This was a very good match, but again, I don't see why they had to have the Motorcycle Machine Guns in this match when Shelley is world champion. He should be looking to further more his reign, add more to his reign, keep that going, which has been really good work for TV at the moment. It's been getting good ratings for them. That part didn't make sense, but the match itself was very good. And if they get a good feud out of the Rascals and the Machine Guns, I'm okay with that. But it means Shelley's world title run, is it going to come to an end? I think so. But it's most likely that'll be the case at Bound for Glory. Between two individuals, I'll be coming to very soon. Next one, Trinity defeated Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife, by pinfall for the Impact Knockout World Championship. Less than 9 minutes, but this was a good match. Table spot involved as well, where Eddie Edwards called back to Impact when he put Trinity for a table. She put him for a table with a frog splash after Kazarian and Tracy Brooks, who will have a match with Alicia and Eddie on Impact 1000. They came out, got that out of the way. Another win for Trinity. She moves on to, well, it's going to be Bound for Glory, so she's moving on. I like this one. It was fast paced. It was high octane. I like the high angle backstabber, especially that Trinity used as well. She's adding more and more to her offense every week now. She's adapting more, she's evolving. Good for her, that's important. And then the main event, obviously, the returning Josh Alexander defeated Steve Macklin. Again, no surprise by the result. Is it building towards Macklin and Alexander back in the title hunt versus Shelley? I hope so. I hope it's a triple threat match at Bound for Glory. But also, you've got Will Ospreay at Bound for Glory. Could Ospreay get Alex Shelley for the world title? Who knows? But I like this match, start to finish. Again, Alexander is brilliant. He's just come back from injury. His second major pay-per-view match. Well, actually, no, third because you've got Multiverse as well. But Macklin, good for him as well. He's just come back from injury. They're both straight at each other. And this could have went longer if they wanted it to. They could have made this one longer, but nah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Good match, and onwards to Bound for Glory. And speaking of Bound for Glory, congratulations to Dom West and Iron Mike Tenay for being the next inductees into the Impact Hall of Fame. And obviously, I still miss Dom West. Obviously, he's a great announcer. I do miss the guy. He was brilliant. Rest in peace to him. But there you have it. So, all those show reviews in an hour and 15 minutes. Now, got to confirm what's coming up next on the channel. So I'm off next week from work. So we've got reviews to come, more gaming streams, and we'll have Ailey back. We will also be I think we might do something special as well. There might be a few other things that's special, but all I'm going to say is just keep an eye on the community tab because you'll see what I've got in store for you guys. But in the meantime, to everyone that's watched tonight, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. An hour and a bit. We don't have to go too long. We've just got a fair bit to review. But in the meantime, we've got the much bigger shows are coming back next week. But the gaming stream will be tomorrow. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're into especially if you're into football, international football's on, the Rugby World Cup's on. But I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, share, and shotgun the like button. Bye for now.